Hi, I have a new Gentle Musings for you today called On Filling the Form, subtitle, Next Small Doable Kind. Here it is. Since the start of the new year, I've spent Monday evenings in circle with women as we worked our way through the artist's way together. We finished last Monday. We shared food and stories and raw insights, and it was one of the best decisions that I made all year. And very outside of my comfort zone to sign up without a friend or knowing anyone in the group before it started. And it happened because I held myself to one of my organizing principles, which is stop waiting for my ego to feel ready to go for whatever I feel pulled to try. I was nervous. There's the time commitment. It's about 3 months. The trekking out in the cold on public transit when it was already dark outside. The looming reading deprivation week that I heard so much about, which unexpectedly turned out to be one of my favorite weeks. And the usual stirrings that come up with being in groups, which is the fear of feeling like an outsider or having nothing unique to contribute, and worse, feeling both. I'm comfortable facilitating groups because it means nerding out on transformation and creativity, but I'm not self-conscious at all in that role because I'm focused on teaching. But speaking up in groups definitely stirs up some dormant insecurities. My organizing principle to stop waiting was the angel on my shoulder that nudged me to go for it. When I said yes to it, I kept placing my attention on the deeper pull instead of this vague future sense of readiness that I might never realize. I knew that in this case, I was waiting to feel more enough in some way before moving forward, and that's not how I want to live my life. So let me backtrack to break down what I mean about an organizing principle. Your organizing principles guide your priorities. So this is both a simple idea and a nuanced way of engaging with choices, and it's a lifelong practice of inner discernment. Organizing principles are practiced in tandem with what I call animating principles. And animating principles are the energy that you embody. It's the energy that you bring to the moments of your day, when you're working on a project, when you're revisiting a project, when you're working through resistance, when you're in a tricky conversation. We all have them, organizing and animating principles, whether they're chosen or out of our awareness, expired or purposefully pushing us toward the edges of our comfort zones. One way of exploring yours in any given moment is to ask yourself, this is the organizing principle question, what am I centering my thinking or decision-making around? And animating, what energy am I carrying into this conversation, this day, this project, this moment? Animating principles are generally a single or a compound word. So just to give an example right now, it might be an animating principle. One for me is curiosity. So it's a felt sense of curiosity. It might be love, it might be compassion. It's something that you feel, that you connect to, like a feeling intention. You hold it in your heart. Organizing principles can be a word, but they can also be a quote or a phrase that acts as a maxim, like mine here. Living according to one's chosen principles is a way of creatively living into radical agency, and we go deep on both in Pivoting Toward Wholeness this May, which is a course. There's more info about it at the end. I've been at this long enough to know that any given project is ready to see the light of day before the ego is ready to share it, before my ego specifically is ready to share it. And I see this with other people too. Yeah, there are exceptions, but for myself, I know this much. When I wait for doubt to dissipate before sharing, then I'm also committing to waiting over making. And in the process, I forget that iterations are stunning. Committing to waiting over making is different than intentionally preparing. It's different than an inner trust of it not being the right season for a given project or a choice. We all have these when we know that we want to do something, we want to choose something, but we trust that it's not, the time is not now. And we can look at when that comes from fear or some type of deeper wisdom, deeper trust. Julia Cameron spoke to this beautifully in her book, and a maxim that goes hand in hand with my phrase, albeit way more snappy, some of you might know this one, it's fill the form. She writes, filling the form means that we must work with what we have rather than languish in complaints over what we have not. Fill the form. What can you do right now in your life as it is currently constituted? Do that thing. In this sentiment, she's sharing some major pivoting toward wholeness wisdom. I say here, major. That is, pivoting toward wholeness as a paradigm comes down to making the next small, doable, kind choice. That kind of choosing is made possible when we're rooted into our own self-created, self-chosen, organizing and animating principles. In Julia Cameron's words, indulging ourselves in a frantic fantasy of what our life would look like if we were real artists, we fail to see the many small creative changes that we can make at this very moment. A creative life is grounded on many, many small steps and very, very few large leaps. Those are her words. Filling the form reminds us to focus on what is next and what is small. A small step can still be saturated with fear and stir insecurity, like when I was deciding to commit to this book club. So doability and kindness are also key. I'm in ongoing practice with this every single day, and I'd love to hear from you. What does filling the form look like for you at this time? And what next small, doable, and kind choice might you make? If you like this, I have some more Gentle Musings below that pull on the same threads. Please share this with a friend who could use the encouragement to fill the form, whatever that is for them. And if you want to be in practice around these ideas together, then Pivoting Toward Wholeness is the place. This is a 6-week course on the creative potential of everyday life. Doors open on April 20th, which at the time of recording is very soon, and we begin on May 4th. It's a 6-week course, so we go May through June 8th. If you're on the wait list and if you register within the first 3 days, then you'll receive a full hour creative mentorship session with me during the first 2 weeks of the course. And this is your time to give voice to hurdles and hesitations, ongoing challenges in the realm of how you show up every day and how you relate to yourself, as well as desires, intentions, and even some bold dreams, and be met with present, unshakable encouragement in the process. So if you want to learn more, you can click below this video. I hope to see you there if you're called to join. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have a friend that you would love to join with, then you can send this along to them too. I really appreciate it. And I would love to hear from you either way, what filling the form looks like for you at this time, and what small, doable, kind next choice you might make. Thank you for being here for this Gentle Musings. It is Sunday at the time of recording this, and I have piles of clothes because I did a closet clean out, so I'm going to go take care of that before the week starts. I'm wishing you a calm and connected week.